Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Hello, welcome along to wherever you are in the world, and you are joining us today for the Qatar Grand Prix. We're just making sure that we are live. Yes, we are. So, 42 seconds then into this live stream, big news already. Max Verstappen will be taking a 5-place grid penalty, and Valtteri Bottas will be taking a 3-place grid penalty. You can see the starting grid along the bottom of your screen then. So the big debate is, do you think it should have been a 5-place grid penalty for Max Verstappen? Many different views on this one, though. My personal opinion is that it should have been a grid penalty, but only 3 places. Just simply because, ignoring double wave yellows is a bad offence. But then if they gave Valtteri Bottas a 3-place grid penalty for ignoring single wave yellows, then Max's penalty does have to be more for consistency reasons. Max's penalty certainly has to be more than 3 places. So maybe that is why it got upped to 5 instead of 3. If I was the stewards, I'd have probably ended up giving a 3-place grid penalty for that one. And I don't know. It's up to you. Do you think 5 was a bit harsh? Personally, I kind of think it was. But anyway, we will get to that later. When the race gets going, that is when the 5-place grid penalties and the 3-place grid penalties will come into much effect. And obviously, I'm going to take you through the starting grid now. So Lewis Hamilton starts on pole with Pierre Gasly in second. Fernando Alonso starts third in his best qualifying since returning to Formula One. Lando Norris will start fourth with Carlos Sainz in sixth. Valtteri Bottas in sixth with his 3-place grid penalty applied. Max Verstappen will start 7th with his 5-place grid penalty applied. Yuki Tsunoda will start 8th. Esteban Ocon will start 9th. Sebastian Vettel will start 10th. Sergio Perez will start 11th. Lance Stroll will start 12th. Charles Leclerc will start 13th. Daniel Ricciardo will start 15th. George Russell, who got into Q2, will start 15th. Kimi Raikkonen will start 16th. Nicholas Latifi will start 17th. And Antonio Giovinazzi will start 18th. Mick Schumacher will start 19th. And Nikita Mazepin will start 20th then. That is your grid for the Qatar Grand Prix. And it has every ingredient to be an absolute classic. And I just so hope we get treated to a very special race then this afternoon at the Sao. And as I said, it has every ingredient to be an absolute classic. Martin Brundle's just taken his grid walk on Sky F1 right now. But make sure if you don't purchase Sky F1 that you stay with us right here for the next couple of hours. We'll take you through with live commentary of the Qatar Grand Prix when it gets going in about 22 minutes time. But first, actually just going to hear from our front row sitter, Pierre Gasly.
My first front row. Start on the soft tire, which is the best compound for the start, and Lewis on medium. So we'll try to grab any opportunity that comes to us. And it's been a good weekend so far. I hope we can finish on this note.
Thanks,
Pierre Gasly then talking to Rachel Brooks then and saying hopefully he can make it his best weekend in Formula One so far. It will obviously take a lot to top that race at Monza last year, but can Pierre Gasly do it? I very much hope that he can do it, by the way, because what an amazing race it would be if he could. Can Lewis retake that championship lead as well today? 14 points, that would be a big ask. But with Max starting in 7th, then if Lewis can finish this race, then I think it'd be a good result, no matter where Max. Well, if he finishes ahead of Max, then I would say Lewis has had a good day because he's closed the points gap. We go to Saudi in 2 weeks' time. Max has obviously got to overtake Bottas, which won't be easy because Bottas will not be in a mood to let Max through. They start side by side at the start then in 6th and 7th. But we're now going to hear from Mick Schumacher. Oh wait, no, we're not going to hear from Mick Schumacher. He's just walked away from the interview cruise down at the Sao this afternoon. Are we going to get Sebastian Vettel? No, I think they're all running to the what is it called? I forgot what it. The Black Lives Matter protest. That's it. End racism message as the planes fly over the start-finish straight at the Sao. It's time for the end racism message.
On the tracks, in the pits, as a sport. But we all race for something bigger.
It's time we race for equality. It's time we race for sustainability.
It's time we race to be global citizens.
It's time we race for equal access, opportunities, and representation.
Because sport can change the world, but it's up to us to make sure that change is for the better.
United, we are stronger.
Change starts with you.
It needs to come from your heart.
Keep working, keep learning, keep on understanding. We have a platform to shift change, starting little by little.
Boy or girl, man or women, united for the same causes.
We have the opportunity to spread the right message.
If we all pull together, every single person has responsibility.
The best example is our own example.
We need to be responsible. What kind of we lead?
We don't have the answers yet, but we can.
Change starts here. We race.
We race.
We race.
We race.
The We Racers, one message then going out to drivers. Take the knee in Qatar. And there we go then. The end racism message. The drivers now will move into position and we will hear very, very shortly the Qatar national anthem.
His support for the LGBT. Sun is beginning to set here and the light.
So we're not actually going to hear the Qatar national anthem right now. We should be hearing it very, very shortly, though. I think now we're going to hear the Qatar national anthem. We're still not hearing it. We will come back to Qatar when we get that national anthem playing. At the moment, there seems to be a few issues with the instruments, so we are not going to be hearing the Qatar national anthem at this moment in time. Then, so let's see. Can we hear it now?
Just an apology, to those viewers who weren't able to watch in UHD earlier due to a technical.
We aren't going to be hearing the Qatar national anthem just yet. Now we are, I think. Now we are. Qatar national anthem. Here we go. The Qatar national anthem then playing out across Sao with the World Championship trophy the Winners' Trophy and the Football World Cup trophy then, which is obviously taking place next winter in Qatar in a very, very big sporting event. That's why we are not going to Qatar next year, but we will be returning there in 2023, and also why we're ending the season. We're now going to hear it from George Russell.
I'm not too sure how overtaking will be, but nobody knows how these tyres are going to last, so they might be able to last for one stop, but people might really struggle in the last part of the race. Clean side of the grid, so hopefully a few cars off the line, go have some fun.
Thanks so much. Let's bring Lando in as well. A couple of Brits. Right. Well, it's all gone off. P4 now. What's possible?
I know, already going forward. We'll see. Obviously now we have some quick cars behind us, but the aim is still the same. Maybe an opportunity to score a few more points, but our eyes are like on Gasly, Fernando. The guys are actually going to be racing today, so we'll see. I don't know how the overtaking is going to be, so that's going to play a big part.
And do you have to just think about those guys? Obviously, the guys behind are on the medium tyre as well, so probably running quite a bit different strategy. Or you have one eye behind.
We'll have an eye behind. Like the medium's still definitely the better tyre to start on. So for Carlos, he's going to be in a nice position. He's starting on the left side of the grid, so yeah, going to be tough. Obviously, he can go much longer. He can push on the tyre for much longer than us, but it's going to be difficult to choose what you want to do. So time will tell.
You give them the squeeze.
Oh yeah, we did the opposite to last week.
Exactly. Is it going to be quite physical, Lando, do you think?
I reckon it will be. Already some drivers were struggling yesterday in qualifying, so not me, thankfully, but it's going to be a tough race. Like, because of the temperature, the humidity, but also because of the high-speed corners here, the next going to be a tough one. So,
thanks, Lando. Appreciate it. So let's go to
So Lando Norris once again, but we're now going to hand you over to Ted Gravitt.
the grid, and we don't know whether overtaking is going to be easy into turn one or hard, but one person you can rely on to lick the stamp and send it is that man, Daniel Ricciardo, starting way down in the middle of the grid, but he's got some very quick drivers around him. Charles Leclerc, number 16, the Ferrari, just alongside him. This huge fight between McLaren and Ferrari for the Constructors' Championship. They're going to be fighting, and then you've got, in a very fast Red Bull Honda, Sergio Perez, after the most disappointing qualifying he could have imagined. But look at that car, just still with some work going on the engine cover. I tell you, Red Bull, in a break with recent tradition, have not had to change any of their bits of their rear wings, break from what they've done the last few races. And then we've got Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll starting one in front of each other on the grid. What can Aston Martin get today in the big fight that they've got between themselves, AlphaTauri and Alpine? The battle of the three A's. Here we have the usual dignitaries, just to bring you down to the grid, get a feeling of who's coming towards us. And then you've got the big guys. You've got Max Verstappen also starting out of position. And then Valtteri Bottas. How are they going to play together? We saw earlier with Pierre Gasly starting on the front row. Helmut Marko, the Red Bull young driver guru and all-round sort of big boss, having a little word with Pierre Gasly. What's that about? What plans do they have later on for Pierre Gasly to get involved with Lewis Hamilton and potentially Valtteri Bottas as well? And Fernando Alonso. Here we go. It's Lando Norris. Let's just check out his car. Any leg changes on there? No, not that we can see. All very calm with the cars on the grid. Lando's just getting some last-minute instructions. He's talking to Will Joseph, his engineer. All these engineers, they have these stopwatches around their necks. They do a countdown, count from when the cars need to be ready, where the tyres need to be on, where the driver needs to be in the car and ready to go. And they are all sight. But just to see these Alpines, I'm looking at Fernando Alonso today. What an amazing, what a best chance he's got to win a race or be solidly on the podium, even P2, since his comeback into Formula One. Wouldn't that be a great story? And then let's just focus back on the job that Lewis Hamilton, rainbow helmet and all, has to do today. Just needs to keep his head, needs to capitalise, Simon, on a day when Max Verstappen has had everything thrown at him.
Thank you very much for that little update on From the Grid. Ted Gravitt there reporting to you live from Laseo in Qatar, where we'll be racing in about 11 minutes' time. Max Verstappen last 5 races, second, first, and then second. In Brazil, it'll be a tough ask if he can get second or first today. But this is Max Verstappen, and this is the Formula One World Championship. So absolutely anything is possible. Do not write Verstappen out to this one just yet. Like we said last week with Lewis, make sure you do not write Verstappen off. He can still very, very much win this race with the pace in that Red Bull. But is that pace in the Mercedes just going to be that little bit too strong for them this weekend as Fernando Alonso gets ready to jump in his Alpine? He will be starting third on the grid. What a great day it was yesterday for Fernando and Alpine, with Esteban Ocon starting ninth. So both drivers into Q3, but especially Fernando Alonso. What an amazing day he had. And Pierre Gasly doing his traditional warm-up with the catch balls. So to test his reactions of how quickly the lights will go out and reactions of where he needs to go. So of how quickly he can react, Sergio Perez, his grid position will be 11th. He's 4th in the championship. He's got a lot of work to do to make up positions today. We don't really know how easy it is going to be to overtake on the start-finish straight. Helmut Marko talking to Franz Tost. I wonder what they are saying about that. With Pierre Gasly on the front row. Is Helmut Marko giving Franz Tost a few instructions to say, Gasly, go offensive, or is it going to be keep it clean? Will Franz Tost will start even listen to Helmut Marko and Stefano Domenicali talking to Jean Todt, the president of the FIA. There's also the president of FIFA there this weekend, David Beckham, as well, as it's the FIFA World Cup starts in exactly 1 year today. But let's focus on the 21st of November 2020 to start with, because we have a Qatar Grand Prix to get through, and the next 2 hours is going to be truly, truly fascinating as the drivers get in their cars. And I think that's Yuki. I think it might even be Pierre Gasly standing at the front of his AlphaTauri. Lewis Hamilton's already in his W12 with that tribute rainbow helmet. The Qatar Grand Prix is next, and it will be live.
There is a tale of a man, a champion that proved himself year after year.
Lewis Hamilton is a 7-time champion of the world.
And for all the kids out there, a fighter,
right.
a warrior, a hero.
England!
But in the shadows rose a new contender.
You born in 97? Yeah.
Jeez.
You are a race winner. Fantastic.
A fearless man. Restless
We won't give up.
and hungry for victory.
We work to become a world champion.
The champion and his adversary did battle.
Hamilton is forced wide.
They charged.
Verstappen is out of the race.
They skirmished.
They are both out.
A battle of horsepower.
We're going to be pushing each other up to the last race.
He has gone from last all the way to first.
The desert trilogy begins. The Qatar Grand Prix.
Hello everyone and welcome along to the SAO for the Qatar Grand Prix and round 20 of the 2021 FIA Formula One World Championships. It's the Formula One Aredu Qatar Grand Prix. We are here at the SAO International Circuit for the very first time in our history then since 1950. Qatar becomes the 33rd sovereign nation to host a round of the Formula One World Championship. And the 2022 FIFA World Cup will be held in Qatar in exactly 1 year today, making its first debut in a Middle East country. Let's take a look at the track then at 5.38 kilometres, 3.343 miles. And we've only got one DRS zone along that 1.1 kilometre long straight. 16 turns then. It's a clockwise circuit. And we've got a very long run towards turn one. The tyres then this weekend, the soft will be the C3, the C2, and the C1 will be the hardest compounds that you can get within the Pirelli range. Right, let's take a look at the starting grid then. So it's Lewis Hamilton who takes his 102nd pole position in Formula One. Pierre Gasly will start second with Fernando Alonso with his best qualifying since the return to Formula One in third. Lando Norris will start fourth. Carlos Sainz will start fifth. Valtteri Bottas will start sixth after taking a penalty. Max Verstappen will start seventh after he took a 5-place grid penalty. Yuki Tsunoda will start eighth. Esteban Ocon will start ninth. And Sebastian Vettel will round out the top 10 with Sergio Perez in 11th. Lance Stroll in 12th. Charles Leclerc will start 13th with Australian Daniel Ricciardo in 14th. George Russell will start 15th. He's heading to Team GB next year, Mercedes. Kimi Raikkonen will start 16th. Nicholas Latifi will start 17th. Antonio Giovinazzi will start 18th, who's leaving Formula One at the end of the year. Mick Schumacher will start 19th. And Nikita Mazepin will be 20th then. Starting 7th after receiving a 5-place grid penalty is Max Verstappen then, and he hasn't had a very good race weekend at all yet so far. 365 days to go then until the start of the FIFA World Cup in Qatar 2022. We're looking at one of the amazing stadiums that has been built where that final and that opening game will be hosted then. Valtteri Bottas is starting sixth after receiving a 3-place grid penalty for ignoring a single-waved yellow flag in qualifying. Championship leader Max Verstappen will start seventh. He received a 5-place grid penalty for ignoring a double-waved yellow flag in qualifying. That is what the difference between a double-waved yellow flag and a single-waved yellow flag. If you ignore a single-waved yellow, it's only a 3-place. If you not ignore a double-waved yellow, it's a 5-place. That then is the difference between the flags. So Hamilton will start on the mediums. Pierre Gasly, though, and Fernando Alonso and Lando Norris will both crucially start on the soft tyres. Can they get past the British driver on that long run towards turn one? And that soft tyre will give them a much better launch off the line than the Mercedes driver. The tyre blankets are removed. They are pushing Lewis Hamilton's car slightly back, as they do with every other car. So Gasly, Alonso, Norris, Tsunoda, Ocon, Vettel, Russell, Raikkonen, Latifi, Giovinazzi, Schumacher all start on the softs. Everyone else will start on the mediums at this Qatar Grand Prix then. Under the lights in the Sao, and the clock is about to tick. 5 o'clock local time then, 2 o'clock here in the UK when it eventually does. And it does now. The formation lap is very much underway, and the front two got a good launch on the formation lap, and we will see who gets that crucially that better run towards turn one. Lewis Hamilton starting on the cleaner side of the grid, which is what you could say might just give him that advantage going into the first corner. Lots of gravel around here, as it's predominantly a motorbike track. And the MotoGP riders do very much like gravel, not asphalt. So if you go off here, you will pretty much find yourself in the gravel track. Max Verstappen starts on a brand new set of mediums then. So Nikita Mazepin's not really got going on his formation lap. Hopefully he will do. As they head, they're actually only just coming out of turn one now. So the guys that are sat on the front row will be sitting there for a very long time, unless Lewis is going to back everyone up. As we look at the amazing Sao circuit from above. Are you ready for the inaugural Qatar Grand Prix? And then Hamilton is heading into Sector 3 around now. A sunset race start then. An orange sky above us in Qatar. We are under the lights for the second time this season, but our first time since round one in Bahrain. As Hamilton heads through the quadruple apex corner then. And he's really made his stand in Qatar this weekend against human rights issues, and so has four-time world champion Sebastian Vettel. The 2021 season, it's the final 3 races. Who will be crowned champion in 4 weeks' time in Abu Dhabi? Who really knows is the answer. But 3 weeks' time in Abu Dhabi, because Hamilton comes round the last corner now and on to the grid. He's going very slowly onto the grid to back everyone else up then. So he's got Pierre Gasly for company. He have Fernando Alonso and Lando Norris behind him. It might be Alonso with the slipstream that's going to be the biggest threat to Lewis. And if he can get alongside wheel-to-wheel with Lewis, both Christian Horner and Toto Wolff look on from their respective garages. The front lot are now on the grid and they are sitting there. Tyres getting colder. Verstappen is just putting up onto the grid in 7th. Now he's got Valtteri Bottas along, well, kind of ahead of him, one place ahead of him, just a few meters ahead of him then. Can Valtteri Bottas play a big role in this Qatar Grand Prix, because he is not going to let Verstappen by with ease for Mercedes then. So it's the final few cars make their way onto the grid, followed by the medical car. We've got the green flag. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights at the Sao, and the Qatar Grand Prix is go. It's a good start from Lewis Hamilton. It's crucially a very good start from Lewis Hamilton, but he's going to have Pierre Gasly trying at the outside at turn 1, but it doesn't work. Hamilton leads then the Qatar Grand Prix, and they all safely make it round the first corner. Verstappen's getting pushed out wide though. He's going to try the outside of Lando Norris. Verstappen's had a very good start. Fernando Alonso's up to second already though in his battle with Pierre Gasly. And Fernando Alonso got away extremely well at the start. But crucially, so has Max Verstappen. I think there might be damage for Haas at the back, maybe. We will see how that goes. And there's a Williams trying to get past the Haas. George Russell and both Williams did not get off the start well, but nor did Valtteri Bottas. He's all the way down in 11th and he's lost 5 positions. So I have no idea what exactly happened to Bottas there. But Hamilton leads then from Alonso, from Gasly, from Perez, from Norris, from Ocon, from Sainz, Tsunoda. Perez rounds out the top 10 with Lance Stroll in 10th. Then so Max Verstappen already up to 4th, and he is stuck behind the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly then. And Alonso getting clear of Pierre Gasly, but Verstappen's made a very good start to this Qatar Grand Prix at the Sao and is already up to 4th. But Hamilton, all the while, is extending his lead. And Perez has just got overtaken by Lance Stroll. Stroll goes to the outside at turn 1, but Perez is going to get the cutback at turn 2. And Perez holds that position as we head on to lap 2 of the Qatar Grand Prix. That long straight is going to provide so many good opportunities for racing this afternoon. So Bottas behind Stroll now as well. Charles Leclerc remained in 13th. He didn't get a very good start. Let's take a look at that race start again. Hamilton got off the line very well. And then Gasly pulled alongside him, got in the slipstream, pulled alongside him. But he just could not get past him. Verstappen actually goes off the track to overtake. He goes onto the grass, puts 2 wheels onto the grass, and that enables him to get through. Let's go on board with Verstappen then. Bottas just doesn't get off the line, and Verstappen picks up a nice slipstream from all of the cars in front. He goes up the inside of Daniel Ricciardo, well, at least tries to anyway, and it kind of does work out. He almost gets the Alpine, which just squeezes him out onto the track, and then Fernando Alonso gets past Pierre Gasly at the next corner. And Hamilton sets the fastest lap of the race then. And we very much have to see how this strategy plays out. Verstappen radio saying he's a little bit stuck here. Then it wouldn't surprise me if he's a bit stuck. He's behind Pierre Gasly. But will Gasly be obliged to let Max Verstappen through? Who knows exactly what will happen in that scenario. We're settling into a bit of a rhythm now in this Grand Prix. And 2.5 seconds already is what Lewis is putting out front. He's 4 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen, who's down in 4th after 3 laps then. So Max Verstappen's obviously got to battle with the drivers. As it stands at the moment, Lewis Hamilton would get the championship lead. It'd be a dead tie at the top. And Pierre Gasly's gone very wide, and this could give Max Verstappen a very good opportunity to get back up to the podium places. Verstappen is going to go down the inside at turn 1, and he's going to get past Pierre Gasly, who started 7th. He's already up to 3rd. And I think Gasly went off the track, and he's got his lap time deleted, so that's how Verstappen got through. Even though, crucially, Fernando Alonso was a 10th and a half quicker than Lewis Hamilton last time around. So what happened to Gasly? Just runs wide and then gets onto the green AstroTurf, and that gives Verstappen a very good opportunity with DRS to get past him. And let's see, Verstappen is already on the back of Fernando Alonso. He's had a very, very good start to this race in the Sao then. He's not going to be stuck behind him much longer as they head through the quadruple apex corner and towards the penultimate corner. You know, to the final corner, it is certainly going to be DRS for Max Verstappen. Can he get past Fernando Alonso on this occasion? He might be doing it. Alonso doesn't put up much of a fight. Verstappen's up to second then, and 4.1 seconds is Lewis Hamilton down the road. Verstappen's on the charge then. How quickly can Verstappen charge that gap down? That is going to be it. We're not entirely sure. Verstappen's just set fastest sector time then. So that does just go to show that he is closing Lewis Hamilton down. Let's go on board with Sergio Perez now. As he got past Yuki Tsunoda at turn 1. He has very much. But then he goes deep into the corner. Does Yuki Tsunoda get back through? No, I don't think he does. So that's a good move. Valtteri Bottas, meanwhile, is still stuck all the way down in 11th position. He hasn't had a very good start. Hamilton radio. Hamilton being told to at least maintain this gap, but Verstappen is closing it at a rate of knots. I don't think maintaining the gap is going to be the right option for this. He needs to extend it, really, if he can. Verstappen takes the fastest lap away from him. And he took 0.3 of a second out of Lewis Hamilton's lead on the last lap. And there's a Ferrari going for it with an Alfa Romeo in the background. Charles Leclerc thinks about a move up the inside of Kimi Raikkonen at turn 1. And he does very much get that move done. But is Kimi Raikkonen going to be able to come back into turn 2? No, he won't. Good move from the Ferrari driver. He's now up to 12th position then in this race. He's got Valtteri Bottas next up the road. He's stuck in 11th. He got a dreadful start. Pardon me. And he's been waiting for 6 laps to get past Lance Stroll. Verstappen is complaining of front wing damage from the curbs. I can't see any damage to that front wing, but we will see how that plays out, because if that is damaged, that will be an extra pit stop for Max Verstappen. But meanwhile, the other Red Bull, Sergio Perez, is closing down the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz, and he is going to be within DRS range on the start-finish straight then. And is it going to be enough for Sergio Perez along the long start-finish straight? He goes to the outside at turn 1. Sainz stays on the inside and Perez gets a bit of oversteer. Sainz gets back through. Perez thought about a move at turn 2, but he couldn't quite do it. Ricciardo's got past George Russell. Meanwhile, we're watching this battle. But Sergio Perez can't quite get ahead of Carlos Sainz. Let's see this from the helicopter view then. So Perez goes to the outside, but he just goes too deep into the corner, too late on the brakes. And that costs him an overtake on Carlos Sainz. But I'm sure the Red Bull Sergio Perez will be back very much soon. Perez radio. And Verstappen's lost the second to Lewis Hamilton in 4.6. Did he have a recharge lap maybe? Or is that potential front wing damage costing Verstappen a few tenths of a second per lap over Lewis Hamilton. I'm sure Verstappen's front wing problem will be getting relayed to all of the other 19 drivers to keep it off the curbs. Verstappen radio. And Verstappen has got some front end plate damage, is what his team radio with GB says. But Perez goes to the outside of Carlos Sainz again at turn 1. Is Sainz going to be able to fight this back to turn 2? No, he won't this time. Perez does get the job done, and he is ahead of Carlos Sainz. But the clerk is closing down on Valtteri Bottas now as well. So we will see how that one plays out. Valtteri Bottas really cannot get past the Aston Martin. Bottas radio. He's being told by Toto Wolff to get these cars. Well, he's not getting them, is he? Exactly at this moment in time. They need Bottas to be up there with for the Constructors' Championship. We are now under full blanket of darkness. Well, except the floodlights. The Sao for this one then. He just can't get past with the turbulent air being produced from the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll and the AlphaTauri of Yuki Tsunoda. He just cannot get past. 4.6 then is the gap out in front. Lewis Hamilton told to maintain that gap, is rather maintaining that gap at this moment in time. He isn't really extending his lead on. Oh, and Lance Stroll goes wide, and that might give Valtteri Bottas a good opportunity through the last corner. No, but it might now give him an opportunity on the start-finish straight. As who's that getting past an Alpine? That's Sergio Perez getting past Esteban Ocon. And Valtteri Bottas now gets past Lance Stroll. But can they going to go 3 wide into turn 1? And this isn't going to work. And it's going to be Valtteri Bottas who gets past Yuki Tsunoda and Lance Stroll as well. So that scrap now is Stroll, Bottas, Tsunoda. Bottas back up and into 10th. But Tsunoda, the big loser there, because all of the cars behind him got DRS and a nice slipstream as well. And it's Tsunoda who loses out. Lance Stroll went wide at the penultimate corner. But that might have just given him the drive to go slightly off the track. And Bottas actually got wheel-to-wheel with Stroll. But Stroll picked up a slipstream from Yuki Tsunoda. And they went 3 wide. Bottas had the inside line at turn 1. Stroll went to the outside. It was Stroll who came off better in that move. And Lewis Hamilton's just reset the fastest lap of this race and extended his lead to over 5 seconds now. That Mercedes looking quite strong with that new power unit in it this afternoon. But Gasly is within half a second of Fernando Alonso now. But Lando Norris is within 9.5 well, just over a second of Pierre Gasly as well. Norris is going to try the outside at turn 1 on Pierre Gasly, but it's not going to quite work. Sorry, that was Daniel Ricciardo on. No, Tsunoda's in the pit. Tsunoda's come in, so that must have been Norris and Gasly. Tsunoda's in the pits then, so I wonder if that's a routine stop. Yes, it very much is. A new set of mediums go on then. So that AlphaTauri is clearly going on a 2-stop strategy this afternoon. And Valtteri Bottas has now got past Lance Stroll. He went down the inside at turn 1, and that's a lovely, lovely move from Valtteri Bottas. Bottas radio. Great work, he's being told by his engineer. But, you know, he's got Carlos Sainz next up the road. Then he's got Esteban Ocon and Sergio Perez, who's absolutely flying. A shame he couldn't wrap it up in qualifying. Fastest sector then for Lewis Hamilton once again. I think that end plate damage might just be costing Max Verstappen about half a second a lap then. So that front wing damage on the Red Bull costing Verstappen as Hamilton sets yet another fastest lap at this Qatar Grand Prix. And is he going to be going for Grand Slam? That's pole position, fastest lap, and you then every single lap of the race in front of a packed out Losail International Circuit. Capacity crowd then for this weekend. And 5.7 now as out front, as Raikkonen is the next one to come into the pits. So clearly we are looking at a 2-stop race. And what tyres are going on that Alfa Romeo? It would be a medium set. Yes, it will be. It's a slightly slow stop. It's 3 seconds. I'm sure the Alfa Romeo crew would have liked it to be about half a second quicker than that. And Sonoda's got past Raikkonen in the pit stop, so that's interesting as well. So 7/10 then, Gasly to Norris. No, sorry, a second is Gasly to Norris, and 7/10 is Perez to Norris. So Perez will be on the wing of that McLaren as David Beckham looks on from the McLaren damage. Guys, let's see if we can spot that end plate damage then on Verstappen's car. I can't see exactly where the damage is, but if it is damaged, then it is costing Max Verstappen quite a lot of pace per lap. But Sergio Perez, Daniel Ricciardo tries the outside. No, Lando Norris tries the outside of Pierre Gasly. And Valtteri Bottas tries the outside of Carlos Sainz also at turn 1. But Sainz holds on then as they head towards turn 2 for the 12th time in this race. Half a second is that gap then, very much a decent gap for Sainz at this moment in time. But on the straight, that is going to cause him a very much problematic gap. But he has got the Alpine of Esteban Ocon in front of him. So Carlos Sainz will very much be getting DRS as well on the next time around. The next time we cross the start-finish line. That is the only DRS zone on this track. And it's come on board with Lando Norris as he passed Pierre Gasly and has gone up to 4th. Could it potentially be another Lando podium in Qatar? So the gap would be 6 points in the live championship standing going into Saudi next time around in 2 weeks. Perez now on the back of Pierre Gasly as well. Perez has got DRS. Perez is going to be going wheel to wheel with Pierre Gasly, and Perez is going to be past Pierre Gasly by the time they get to the braking zone at turn 1. Good move from the Red Bull driver. He is up to 5th position. Meanwhile, Valtteri Bottas is not making a good impression of himself. He still can't get past Carlos Sainz at turn 1. It's fair to say Valtteri Bottas is having a bit of a tired afternoon or evening so far in Losail. Not really suiting his driving style is the track itself. Let's see how he tried to get past Carlos Sainz at turn 1. He kind of tried to go to the outside and almost lost it. In fact, under the braking there, we haven't really seen mistakes like that happen so far this weekend. And that would have certainly have been in the dirty air of the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. So 6.5 then out front, the gap between Hamilton and Verstappen. 6.6 now. Verstappen really struggling this afternoon. AlphaTauri, Pierre Gasly told to box. But I don't think he has. Not unless that's on the next lap. Oh no, he has come in. He has come in. Pierre Gasly then into the pits. Right, Valtteri Bottas with Carlos Sainz again. But Carlos Sainz also has DRS. Valtteri Bottas pulling out of the slipstream to get some cooler air into that Mercedes car, but he can't quite get past again. Gasly in the pits then. Good stop from the AlphaTauri crew, 2.4 seconds They'll be very happy with that. And there's an Aston Martin of Sebastian Vettel going past George Russell. They're going wheel to wheel to turn 1. But it's Sebastian Vettel who gets the job done. And that was a real jinx to the right from the Williams driver. But it doesn't stop 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel from getting through. That was a good move from the German driver. And Max with a 5-place grid penalty made up 5 places within the first few laps, but has got supposedly some wing damage. And 28 seconds now is the gap from first to third. So Fernando Alonso is a very long way behind. But Lando Norris only 3 seconds behind the Spanish driver, but he has got Sergio Perez in his wing mirrors. Sergio Perez has got DRS. He's gaining. He throws off a visor strip towards turn 1. Perez thinks about the move, but decides better of it. But Valtteri Bottas finally gets past Carlos Sainz down the inside into turn 1. And Valtteri Bottas is up to 7th position now. Bottas radio. So that was a good battle then. And both Red Bull and Mercedes really need their other 2 drivers to be in with the mix, don't they, to support their number 1 driver. At the moment, Sergio Perez is with Max Verstappen, but Max Verstappen can't challenge Lewis Hamilton. Well, Perez is still in 5th position, but he's a lot closer than what Valtteri Bottas is, as Hamilton does a new fastest lap for 1:27.7 in this race then. And Hamilton so far is another level today. Hamilton radio though. Hamilton being told Verstappen struggling with his rear end more. I don't know whether it's Verstappen struggling. Perez is now going to go down the inside of Lando Norris, where he actually gets it done before the braking zone. But Perez up to 4th then. And next up the road is the Spaniard, Fernando Alonso. And we know that Alonso likes to put up a bit of a fight. Not the most interesting race so far of the season, but there is at least some overtaking. Giovinazzi then, in his final 3 races in F1, comes into the pits. And I assume a medium set of tyres will be going on that Alfa Romeo. Pierre Gasly gets past Nikita Mazepin, and he's got Mick Schumacher next up the road. Obviously, Gasly has already pitted. He has a net 5th or 6th, depending on where he comes out, with Sergio Perez or Lando Norris now as it is. Meanwhile, Hamilton goes even quicker at the front. 8.2 seconds now is the gap between Hamilton and Verstappen. That would cut the gap down to around 6 points going into Saudi next week, the weekend after. But Valtteri Bottas is now on the back of Esteban Ocon. And can he get through into the final corner? No, he can't. But he's going to get DRS on the Alpine driver now. He's gaining his Bottas. He's gaining. And he's going to be wheel to wheel with Ocon. He's going to get that job done before the braking zone. And Valtteri Bottas is up to 6th position then. It took him a little while to get going, but he is now turning on the overtakes. And Lewis is already starting to catch people to lap them ahead. 17 laps then on this circuit. Wow. Hamilton is flying at this moment in time on a medium set of tyres. Verstappen radio. Verstappen's in the pits. Max Verstappen is coming in, and is it going to be a new front nose as well? It's the hard tyre that's going onto it, and it isn't a new front nose. 2.2 seconds then is the gap. He's got a 24-second gap behind him to Fernando Alonso. This might be cozy. Coming out of the pits with the Alpine driver. No, it's actually going to be a bit more. Well, it's going to be close though. But Verstappen is out ahead. So 33 seconds is the gap. It takes around 24 seconds to make a pit stop. Obviously, you want to leave it a bit. Don't want to leave it that tight. You want to leave it around 26, 27 really. So we'll see how quickly Verstappen manages to close in. My tyres are good, says Lewis Hamilton. Don't stop me too early. But the Mercedes crew are coming out into the pits then. And it is Lewis Hamilton coming in. So Hamilton does come into the pits then. He's told to box. He's coming in. Hamilton radio. Good stop. I don't think he said anything. 2.3 seconds was the Mercedes stop. And that should comfortably get him out still in the lead of the Qatar Grand Prix. Verstappen isn't even on the start-finish straight yet. Now he is. And on the hard compound tyres, obviously 14 seconds then, 10 seconds now is the gap. So Hamilton actually gained a second by doing that because they were 9 seconds going in. Now it's down to 9. Hamilton radio. Hamilton saying it's definitely way too early to stop. But and then potentially looking at a 2-stop. If they go, they won't be able to go to the end on the hard compound tyres from here. Surely not. 8.9 seconds is the margin. 8.8. Obviously, Hamilton's got to get his hard compound tyres up to temperature. The T-feed comes into the pits as well. And where is he going to come out? Is he going to come out behind his teammate George Russell, Nicholas Latifi? I don't think he is. Yes, he is. Latifi will come out plumb last, unfortunately. But that's not actually a net plumb last. He'll be around a net 17th, I'd want to say. So the Live Drivers' Championship, 6 points then in Verstappen's favour, heading into the doubleheader, the final doubleheader to end the season. And the Red Bull mechanics are back out in the pit lane, this time for Sergio Perez. Perez comes in. Nice new set of hard compound tyres. Slightly slower than they'd like. 2.7 seconds. 8.5 seconds now is the gap out in front. And we will see how quickly that comes down or is extended once both sets of tyres are up to temperature. Perez comes out at Bottas radio. So Mercedes sending Valtteri Bottas that it'll be on the 2-stop. Verstappen will be on the 2-stop. I was going to say Sergio Perez has come out in 12th position then. So 12th position. He's got to get past a few cars, but obviously they're all yet to pit as well. So when he comes out, he should be a net 4th or 5th, depending on how quickly he can rein in the other cars and how quickly he can set lap times. So Hamilton begins to extend his lead then of 8.5 seconds. And he's maintaining that gap at the moment. He's set another fastest lap. So clearly those hards aren't doing too bad at all. Lap 21 of 57 at the Sao then. And now Bottas is within DRS range. Lando Norris going towards turn 1. Again, he's going to think about diving up the inside. But I think rightly so, backed out of that one. Because that was not, that was a recipe for disaster if Valtteri Bottas had decided to do that in his final 3 races for Mercedes. Let's have a look. Oh, and the Red Bull front wing clatters the curves again of Max Verstappen. And that might have caused a bit more damage if there was any already. But Valtteri Bottas still stuck behind Lando Norris because you can't really overtake in the middle part of the track. But Yuki Tsunoda's just got past Nikita Mazepin. He's up and into 15th position then. And here we go then, once again for Valtteri Bottas and Lando Norris. Bottas comes through the final corner. He's going to get DRS again. He's going to pull out, though, of the slipstream to cool his car down a bit so he won't be getting past him this lap. So that's interesting tactics there from Valtteri Bottas. Did he go for a recharge lap? And now is he going to go for a flying lap and try to get Lando on the next time of asking? Meanwhile, Sergio Perez is now on the rear wing of Sebastian Vettel. Vettel covers off the inside. Perez tries to the outside at turn 1. And he's going to go wide and off the corner. And then Aston Martin cuts him off and maintains that position. Then it's a good defence from Sebastian Vettel. But can Sergio Perez get through on the next time of asking, on the next time we have DRS on that main straight then? Perez is exceptionally close going into the middle part of this Losail International Circuit. And we're on lap 22, I believe, maybe 23 now. Just having a look at that attempt of an overtake again with Sergio Perez on Sebastian Vettel. It was never really going to work out. Lap 23 we're on now as the leaders cross the line. Lewis puts in another fastest lap after Grand Prix then. And as Perez heads towards the penultimate corner, through the penultimate corner to the last corner, and Valtteri Bottas goes down the inside of Lando Norris at turn 1. We caught that one late. Now we're going to have to go back to Sergio Perez as he got past Lance Stroll, the Aston Martin of Vettel, into turn 1. Yes, he has. He's gone to the inside. But can he hold the position? Yes, he very much can. And Sebastian Vettel has to concede 11th position. He's down to 12th now. I think he might have knew that wasn't much of a fight that time. Let's have a look at that move again then. Perez just went to the inside and later on the brakes than the Aston Martin in the Red Bull. Perez up to 12th, 11th position now then. And Valtteri Bottas went really late with Lando Norris. Bottas radio. Being told good move then. The Mexican vans have travelled across the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean, and Schumacher comes into the pits. No, I think that's Nick Schumacher anyway, car 47. And he's going to come out ahead of Lewis Hamilton, but he has to let Lewis Hamilton, of course, through, of course, because he's the leader. Meanwhile, third position, Alpine, Fernando Alonso comes in, and this is going to be tight with Valtteri Bottas on the exit if it's a slow stop, which it is 2.7. This is going to be tight. Bottas has gone through. And Alonso goes all the way down to 7th position. He'll come out ahead. No, he's come out behind Charles Leclerc. He's going to come out wheel to wheel, though, with Daniel Ricciardo. And it's Alonso, who has the inside line, has the better line going into the first corner. And it is Alonso that very much maintains that position then. Turn the lights on. Getting a bit dark here in the UK. Here in London. And Perez having to carve his way very much through the field once more then. Verstappen now sets the fastest lap. 8/10 of a second quicker than Lewis Hamilton's. Was that because Lewis had back markers, maybe? Might have been. And Sergio Perez now is about to try Daniel Ricciardo down the start-finish straight. They're going wheel to wheel into turn one, but it's Perez who gets through, and Vettel's got past Ocon. That's because Ocon has come into the pit lane then. But that's a good move from Sergio Perez. He's up to 8th position. And Lewis Hamilton fans, you cannot worry anymore because Lewis Hamilton's just extended his lead by 0.2 of a second over Max Verstappen. But Verstappen still has that fastest lap. That 25 of 57 of what's been a rather long Qatar Grand Prix so far. Now everyone has pitted other than Nikita Mazepin. They did say, would it be a long physical race? It is very much turning out to be that way. We've been going for 42 minutes and we're not quite at the halfway mark yet. A safety car would be quite nice now for Max Verstappen. Obviously not good for Lewis Hamilton. And Hamilton has stolen back the fastest lap as Lando Norris makes his entrance to the pit. Some of the other driver who hasn't pitted is Valtteri Bottas. Sainz goes through on Lando Norris then, and Leclerc as well. Both Ferraris and Alonso and Perez. Alonso's going to come out. Norris, so he's going to come out not even in the top 10, unfortunately. I don't think. No, he's going to come out in 11th. He's going to come out behind Pierre Gasly, who started second, stopped early. That might have been very much the wrong decision. Because we think Gasly will be stopping again. Let's have a look at the entry then. Perez, Alonso. Of the pit lane, Perez was a lot quicker through the pit lane. Alonso only being quicker on the exit, and Perez still behind the Alpine of Fernando Alonso. 7.9 then out in front. The gap to third currently sits at 28.7 seconds, but Valtteri Bottas is still to stop, so it's currently around 39 seconds. The gap to third at this moment, net third at this moment in time, with Carlos Sainz. And the Alpine, Fabio Carlos Sainz locks up, goes wide, and Perez might think about a move too around the outside. Doesn't decide to do it, thinks about a move at turn 2. Also decides to back out. But the Alpine so that was Charles Leclerc. I can't the Alpine yet. It's on Fernando Alonso. But he's now got Perez who's going to go to the inside. But they're still wheel to wheel. On the exit from the middle part of the lap, Perez tries the outside and eventually gets through. So Alonso 5th, Perez 6th. Leclerc goes down to 8th position. He put up a very stern fight. Let's have a look at it then. He thought about the move down the inside into the penalty corner, the penalty loop corner. And it just didn't quite work out that one. But the next time around at the right-hander in the middle part of the lap, he does get the job done. And I think Charles Leclerc is now going to come into the pits. Yes, he very much is. No, it's Carlos Sainz, sorry. Didn't Sainz already pits? Obviously not. So Sainz hasn't pitted. And Leclerc follows. So Ferrari double stacking here then. And they timed that right because they got both stops done. 2.2 and 2.4. So good stops then from the Ferrari crew. Sainz comes out in 10th. Leclerc will come out in 12th position. No, 13th actually as Raikkonen gets through. But Sergio Perez is now all over the back of the Alpine of Fernando Alonso. Perez went fastest in that sector 3 Verstappen radio. And Verstappen saying should be settled for second and watch out for Bottas, maybe. That's an option because Bottas can very much come back into this one at the end of it as Perez runs slightly wide off the penultimate corner. And into the final corner. He's going to get DRS on Fernando Alonso this time around. He's closing. Is it going to be a net third for Perez this time? Fernando Alonso puts up a defense. Perez goes to the outside. Perez is going to go deep low. And Alonso is going to push him out wide. There's still wheel to wheel. Perez is going to try the inside at turn 2. But Alonso is going to stick with him. Alonso goes off the track and has to eventually concede the position. But Perez needs to get on with it and make sure he doesn't tag the Alpine of Alonso with him. He needs to get after Bottas now. And now I wonder if Bottas will have to pit to be on the safe side in this one. And Alonso saying he was pushed off the track, but he wasn't because he was still on the red and white curb. As Hamilton sets yet another fastest lap, but that gap is now under 7 seconds. So and Ricciardo's having a terrible day. He's down in 16th. He's just lost the position to is that Antonio Giovinazzi, the Alfa Romeo. He's not having a very good afternoon, is the Australian. And there's now an Alpine of Esteban Ocon on the back of the McLaren of Lando Norris. Let's move over halfway stage. Then in this Qatar Grand Prix. Lap 31 of 57. And Verstappen has now got the fastest lap of the race. Obviously, Hamilton has a lap younger tyres. So where has Verstappen found that pace? Is Hamilton doing a recharge lap? Or has he got traffic maybe? Hamilton very much getting stuck in traffic behind the Alfa Romeo of Antonio Giovinazzi. About 7 seconds is the gap, and Leclerc is getting closer now to Kimi Raikkonen then. And through the quadruple corner now towards 15 and on to turn 16, which was where the yellow flags were yesterday, which cost Max Verstappen. It's not going. Leclerc's going to get DRS. And actually, the Alfa Romeo is coming to the pits anyway. Kimi Raikkonen came into the pits last time around, so Leclerc will go through anyway. 6.4 then out in front now. The first time it's been under 6.5 seconds in a very long time. So it's remaining pretty even, isn't it? Verstappen isn't really making an effort to close down the gap. Live Drivers' Championship, then it would be 7 points in Verstappen. It'd actually be 8 points in Verstappen's favour. And now Hamilton gets past the back markers in the middle part of the circuit. And 6.2 seconds. Verstappen closing that gap down now. Has he just got that little bit more tyre life? We're on board with Verstappen now, looking at the helmet face view as he heads towards turn 1. Started 7th, now 2nd. It's damaged imitation really today for Max Verstappen. He was taken to the stewards this morning and he got given a 5-place grid penalty for ignoring yellow flags. On the last lap, Verstappen was a 10.5 quicker than Lewis Hamilton. Oh no. Valtteri Bottas has got a puncture and he's gone off. Valtteri Bottas has gone off and he's in the gravel. And Bottas, can he keep it going? He can, but Bottas has got a puncture. And he's got a lap to try and limp home. He's been gravel all over the track as well. Double yellows being waved. He hasn't made his pit stop yet, and I think he's just taken those medium tyres that little bit too long. And he's gone wide again. He's going to come on in front of Sergio Perez, and that was rather dangerous. And his bodywork's flying off. And Valtteri Bottas finally makes his way back to the pit lane. But poor Valtteri Bottas, who'd had such a strong race. A lot of damage to that Mercedes car and new nose. And he's now gone back out, and he's going to go all the way down to 11th. His teammates lapped him in the process, but that will certainly be a warning sign to the other teams to maybe pit again as a precaution. And Valtteri Bottas has dropped all the way to 14th position. And has it had a whack on the curb? Has it run over debris, or has it just broken? And he's come out slightly ahead of George Russell. Let's go on board then. Oh, I think it just broke. Yeah, it just went. And that's how Sergio Alonso got a shower of sparks. And that tyre is very much going in the bin for Valtteri Bottas. But his teammate Lewis Hamilton, who's lapped him, 7.6 seconds clear. And there's 3 points now in the constructors and the drivers in Mercedes' favour. Tsunoda's into the pits. That pushes Bottas up a position. But I'm sure that is going to cause some of the front runners to pit again. Surely they don't want to risk getting a puncture. And Alonso saying the car is very nice to drive and is enjoying driving the track as Verstappen laps an Aston Martin. I didn't quite see which one it was. I think it might have been Sebastian Vettel as Gasly comes into the pits, and Gasly's coming in again. I wonder if that might be. It's a slow stop though for the AlphaTauri. And as it stands, it'd be a grand slam for Lewis Hamilton as well. Yet another one to his name. And they are not easy to get in Formula One, a grand slam either, because it's pole position, fastest lap, nearly every race lap as well, and winning the race.
For a second stop by the end of this race. Could Alonso and Norris maybe go to the end of this race on the hard compound tyre after putting in a super stint?
I mean, if you're on the hard, you might be able to potentially go to the end of the race.
Lewis Hamilton, who's made a habit in his career, hasn't he, of winning on a first visit to a circuit. 34 circuits he's driven at previously to the one here in Qatar, and he's won on the first visit to 11 of them. Yeah, and when
Lewis Hamilton has won at every single circuit he's driven. He does love winning the inaugural Grand Prix of a certain country, doesn't he? And he looks like he might have every desire to win this weekend as well. Perez say 40 laps. Those hard compound tyres can go, but would you risk it? I wouldn't if I was a strategist, knowing what's happened to Valtteri Bottas and how punishing this circuit is on tyres. And I don't think there's any much point taking any risk, really, if I'm honest. Because every single point matters going into the last couple of Grand Prix as Hamilton now laps the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. Is it going to be a two-stop, or can the teams and the drivers make a one-stop work? Bear in mind what we've seen with Valtteri Bottas. Verstappen radio. Verstappen saying a bit more vibrations, and that is the kind of comment that would send the strategist's mind whirling, because vibrations normally means a puncture is on the way. I mean, Max can afford a stop quite easily.
Mercedes will bring Valtteri Bottas in to do exactly the same thing, because he's running out of the points at the moment. See if he can get back into the points, but he's quite a way off it as it stands. Yeah, and Valtteri Bottas does have a brand new set of soft tyres available, and he might have a damaged car to boot too after they had to change the front wing. They won't want Bottas to steal the World Championship point from Hamilton, but they can always.
But we'll see. At the moment, it's Hamilton from Verstappen from Perez. And Gasly is now has got DRS on Sebastian Vettel. Gasly tries the inside of Sebastian Vettel at turn 1, but decides better of it. I think that was probably the right decision. I'm just hearing what Paul is saying. And Hamilton reporting vibrations then. Edgy stuff at this Qatar Grand Prix. Nothing is in the basket just yet. Tsunoda goes to the outside of the TV at turn 1. That's a replay. That's a very good move. Now, very small vibrations on front tyres, says Lewis Hamilton. But there are no word of warning from Valtteri Bottas' puncher. Should Lewis Hamilton take a precaution stop? And Hamilton's looking a lot better than Verstappen's. Verstappen gets through then.
Street race along the Corniche now by the sea. I went for a drive there last night. Lots of very interesting traffic lights which could hold up the pace of everyone. That might actually be quite good news for everyone from Perez downwards, because it might allow them to get a bit closer to Verstappen and Hamilton, who have rather checked out from the rest of this race and are currently
55 seconds then. The gap from first to third then. That's a big gap, and that just goes to show how much the front runners are extending their lead. Verstappen's coming in then. Box. And I wonder if Mercedes will pit Hamilton next time around. Medium's going on then for Max Verstappen. And he's going to come out. Valtteri Bottas is on that Verstappen. 2.1 seconds was the stop then from Red Bull. That's a very, very good stop. And surely Hamilton will be in the pits next time around. And is Perez coming in as well? Yes, he is. I think Mercedes are staying out. I think Hamilton is staying out. No, Hamilton's coming in. 2.5 for Perez. Hamilton's coming into the pits. Lewis in the pits then. It's a good stop from the Mercedes crew. 2.3 seconds. Hamilton's out and away. A set of medium tyres. Whereas Verstappen is just coming down the straight now. Is he? No, I don't think that is Verstappen actually. No, it's Hamilton's teammate Valtteri Bottas, who's just got past Daniel Ricciardo and is up to 12th position. 9.7 seconds, 9 seconds. The gap between Hamilton and Verstappen. I think they had to make that stop as a precautionary measure. I wonder if they will the others will come in as well. We know the Mercedes was going well on the medium tyre. And Alonso is currently in third position and might just be putting Max off pitting again at this moment in time. And apparently this is the highest attended sporting event in Qatar ever, which obviously will be replaced by the World Cup next year because it's 4 weeks and not 3 days. Hamilton Radio. And Mercedes saying they will try to stop Verstappen getting the fastest lap at the end of the race. And then who's the driver of the day so far? I think it might be Fernando Alonso or Lando Norris. Could very much be a contender for driver of the day today. Perez has set the fastest sector 2 then. And Perez has done the fastest lap of the race. So 7 points. The gap out in front. But the big battle for the fastest lap will come at the end of the race. it will be about who has the most pace. Let's have a look at Kimi Raikkonen then, how he got past Nicholas Latifi. Oh, that was very, very close to contact indeed. Latifi jinxed back to the left-hand side of the track, and how they didn't collide is another question. Tsunoda's got past Russell for good measure. Russell down in 15th position then. And we will certainly miss Kimi Raikkonen when he goes at the end of this season in Abu Dhabi, which is not long away now at all. Alonso radio. Alonso saying, tell Esteban to defend like a lion when Perez comes to within touching distance of him. Perez, Stroll battling, Stroll in sixth, but Perez was just a little bit too far away down the start-finish straight on that occasion. And Hamilton's regained that fastest lap back off Perez for good measure. Whether he will keep it's another question. Yuki Tsunoda, then let's see how he got past George Russell. He went late into turn one, heavy on the brakes. That's a good move. But was it off the track? That's what we have to look at. They haven't been managing track limits there this weekend, so I think should be okay. .125.2 was Lewis Hamilton's last lap time. He's got a comfortable gap of 9.2 seconds. And Perez now is within DRS range of Lance Stroll. Perez is going to try the inside of Lance Stroll at turn one. He's actually got that move done before the braking zone begins. That's a good move from the Mexican driver. And Perez is now up to... Perez radio a minute. And Perez saying podium is still on. Remember, you can vote driver of the day, f1.com/vote. Verstappen now gets the fastest lap of the race. Interesting. So tight for the fastest lap. Ocon radio. Ocon being told we must keep Perez behind us, but I don't think that's easy with this long pit straight. No safety car yet, as in this race. As they head through the final corner, Esteban Ocon and Sergio Perez. This is going to be Perez who's going to be close. He's going to be within DRS. Ocon told to defend and keep him behind. But how easily can he defend? Alonso covers off the inside. Perez goes to the outside. Perez has got the job done, has he? Or is Alonso going to come back at it? Ocon going to come back at him. Ocon tries the outside at turn 2. And he's still going to try the outside at turn 3. On to turn 4 they go. Ocon is going to try a still wheel to wheel. Ocon tries the outside at turn 4. It's so close to contact. Ocon is pushed off the track at turn 5 and eventually has to concede the position. He was told to defend like a lion by Fernando Alonso. I think he did, but it might have just been the Tiger who won on that occasion. And wow, that was a great battle from turn 1 all the way up till turn 4 and turn 5. And Esteban Ocon just run out of road, unfortunately. 8.9 seconds then out in front, a comfortable lead for Lewis Hamilton in this race.
15-second gap that he's got to try and make up between Perez on the podium or Alonso, and his first podium since
And it's
2014.
Can Perez get back on that podium like we thought? I have to wait and very much see in this Grand Prix, which has been more of a strategic battle than an on-track battle. That 49 or 57 in the Sao. Fernando put on his hard tyres back on lap 24. But is it going to be that little bit too tight? There's certainly a risk of a puncture for Fernando Alonso. Obviously, he can't pit because he's got Alonso, Norris 8 seconds behind and Perez 6 seconds behind that. So Red Bull really pressuring the Alpine of Esteban of Fernando Alonso to stay out at this moment in time. It'd be his 102nd win in Formula One if Lewis Hamilton could get that under his belt today. Heading into Saudi in 2 weeks' time. That track is now complete. There's a few questions if they would get that done in time, but that is looking very much done, and it's a really, really cool circuit as well. Valtteri Bottas now is going to pull past the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly, and he's back into 11th position is Valtteri Bottas. Pierre Gasly, who started second, had a race to forget. He hasn't made up points very easily at all. The two-stop hasn't worked, has it? For the Pierre Gasly, for the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly. Alonso radio. And Alonso being told to avoid high-speed curves. That's on the one-stop strategy. We know those curves are damaging those tyres, aren't they? And they're causing them to foul and just drift off the edge and puncture, and that gives you a whole world of problems if that happens. Norris is in the pits. They must have seen some sort of puncture. Bottas radio. And Valtteri Bottas is retiring from this race. He's being told to box. And it's a yellow flag in sector 3. The track's clear. No, it's a track hazard. What's happened? Oh, it's George Russell. George Russell's got a puncture. Oh no, and George Russell. Hard compound tyres, another one. And did McLaren sense something could happen, and that's why they've brought Lando Norris into the pits, and I think Alonso might be coming in as well, even if Sergio Perez is going to overtake him. As a dismal afternoon for Valtteri Bottas ends in the garage. Russell making his way into the pit lane then. Into his grid box, and it's going to be a new front wing as well, is it? Struggling to get the tyres off. No, it isn't going to be a new front wing. Let's see how George Russell's puncture happened. Went over the curb, and did he just go on it for too long? Yeah, I think he did. And it looked like that left front tyre might have been going down already for George Russell. And the TV's got a puncture as well. It's another Williams. It's Nicholas Latifi. And that's at turn 1. He's got a long, long way to go. The TV radio. The TV saying belt fine, not even a vibration. That's the third tyre failure of this race. And Fernando Alonso is going. The TV went 33 laps. Fernando Alonso is going to have to complete 32. Let's see how the Nicholas Latifi's happened then. Curve strike again, but was the left front already going down? But he's missed the pit lane. It's actually off the last corner. It really starts to go down. And Latifi hasn't made it back to the pits. And that might bring out a virtual safety car. I think it will do, at the very least. So we look down the main straight. Esteban Ocon has got Lance Stroll behind him. Valtteri Bottas, the only retiree of this Grand Prix. Alonso being told to stay off the curbs and try and make the one-stop work. I think there might be. No, they haven't thrown anything yet. Have race control. Fernando Alonso third. He's been going on those hards for a very long time. But they are giving up those tyres.
So Sergio Perez is catching it a second a lap, but he has laps left just in the Grand Prix. If Fernando's got to stay away from the curbs, he'll have to.
I wonder if they've got that car cleared, that Williams cleared. Of Nicholas Latifi. 3 laps to go. In what's been a rather eventful Qatar Grand Prix. And Lando Norris is going to go to the outside of Sebastian Vettel who gets through, but Verstappen does another fastest lap of the race. Or Hamilton and Mercedes respond to that. I don't know. Can Lewis charge the battery like it's a qualifying lap and then go again? Alonso radio. And Mazepin came back onto the track right in front of Fernando Alonso, and there's a virtual safety car.
So the race neutralised then for the moment, and all the drivers driving to a speed.
So race neutralised then with 3 laps to go. I think it might be to move the Williams and Nicholas Latifi.
What this does do is stop Hamilton coming back at Verstappen at the moment the fastest lap. That was quite timely. But they've got
Let's have a look at Mick Schumacher. Did he go off the track? I wonder if he did. Oh yeah, he did, and that's why he came straight back on in front of Fernando Alonso.
Because he's got about 50 seconds gap back to his teammate Sergio Perez. So this I would imagine.
And Verstappen's coming into the pits for a new set of soft tyres to.
And also a chance to change onto a set of soft compound tyres in case they get a chance to go for the fastest lap again. And that's warding off Mercedes' ability.
it is, and of course it's a very cheap stop underneath the.
That 56, a 57 then. We've never had a race finish under the virtual safety car before. Maybe today could be an exception. And it might be a sigh of relief for the Alpine of Fernando Alonso. Hamilton radio. Hamilton said should be gone for the soft, but there's only one lap left at the end of this one. Hamilton radio. Obviously, the reason why Hamilton can come in, because if he'd have come in, Verstappen would have stayed out and the lead would have changed hands and Hamilton would have lost a lot more points than what he would have gained. We remain under the virtual safety car then, as Hamilton heads on to the final lap. The virtual safety car is ending. So it'll be coming in. The virtual safety car can be withdrawn at any point in the track. Now it is withdrawn. Hamilton is away. Hamilton's already on the final lap. He won't be able to take the fastest lap point. It will not be a grand slam for Lewis Hamilton on this time around, but doesn't mean it's been a stellar weekend, a stellar drive from the British driver. He is well within the World Championship right now. The current Olympic and World High Jump World Champion Medus Barizim will wave the checkered flag. Hamilton heads to the final part of the lap. He's been on top form all weekend long. He's loved the Sao, he's loved Qatar, he's been running the human rights special liveried helmet. We head to Saudi in 2 weeks' time for the final doubleheader of the season. But this championship battle is well and truly on now. Hamilton heads to the final corner. Through the final corner he goes. Lewis Hamilton, 2 race victories in a row, closes the championship gap to just 8 points. Hamilton wins the Qatar Grand Prix at Losail. He's on top once again on the podium. Verstappen, who has damage, started second, will finish second, 26.2 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton. He will get the fastest lap, but he might not do it on this lap. Yeah, he does get fastest lap. Fernando Alonso, coming through the final few corners. On his return to Formula One, he's going to be on the podium. What a return season it's been for the Spanish driver. The party in Spain will commence. Fernando Alonso comes over the line in third in Laseo. He's back on the podium. Fernando is back, everybody. And we haven't now been on the podium for the second time this season. Sergio Perez came home fourth. Esteban Ocon will come home fifth for a great day for Alpine. Lance Stroll sixth. Carlos Sainz seventh. Charles Leclerc eighth. Lando Norris ninth. Hamilton Radio. The fireworks have started at Qatar. Fernando Alonso almost nearly broke the record for number of races between podiums, but he didn't quite do it. I'm pretty sure he'd be quite proud that he didn't quite do that record this afternoon. Alonso Radio. And a very, very happy Fernando Alonso then will come back to the F1 podium, and we haven't seen him on the podium for quite some time then. Verstappen got the fastest lap. Alonso got driver of the day. British Verstappen Radio. And as Hamilton pulls into his number one position on the grid, not the pit lane, the grid this time around. 5 times the championship leader swung around this season. It hasn't been a sixth. It hasn't been a sixth. Will it be a sixth though? And will that sixth become the 8th for the World Championship, for the 8 world titles? For Lewis Hamilton, who's had a very, very good, strong weekend in the Sao. Two races on the trot where Red Bull haven't had an answer to Mercedes pace. And with all those long straights, expect the Mercedes to be rapid in Jeddah as well. As Alonso gets a round of applause as he climbs out of his car. And he climbs, runs into his Alpine team's arms. Poor Valtteri Bottas and Nicholas Latifi didn't finish the race today through no fault of their own. Valtteri, I think, had an engine issue and damage because of punctures. And Latifi had too much damage because of a puncture as well. 3 punctures today, though. George Russell will be in the other one, but he actually was able to get back. Light show with the floodlights taking place around the Sao right now. And it looks rather spectacular. The inaugural Qatar Grand Prix actually gave us some high drama, didn't it?
Taking a punishment, and we saw Fernando Norris, Valtteri Bottas, George Russell, and Nicholas Latifi all suffering as a result of punctures and some deflations on those tyres.
They all suffered.
By the way, the FIA this weekend celebrating volunteers.
And the FIA this weekend are celebrating volunteers. And also, we couldn't go racing without the marshals at every single event of this season. So if you have been a marshal throughout this F1 season, then we send our great thanks to you, because we could not possibly go racing without you. Then post-race interviews will be hosted by Sky Sports F1's Jensen Button. And in fact, we're going to hear those interviews right now. Lewis Hamilton up first.
Faultless qualifying effort yesterday. A great race. It looked really straightforward from the outside, but I'm sure it wasn't.
Yeah, well, I always like to give a thanks to all the people that came out today. It's the first time we've seen a crowd here in Qatar, so thank you all for coming. Yeah, it was pretty straightforward. It was pretty lonely at the front. Of course, I enjoy those races where you're battling through. But we needed those points today, so I think a real solid job from the team, just with pit stops and with the car. And I heard that. I can't wait to watch the replay of the race to see what happened behind me. But I'm not really sure why people's tires were going. I'm sure it's the curbs. But I'm really grateful for these points. It's been a hell of a year, so to be at this point of the year and have back-to-back wins is a great feeling, and puts us in good stead for the next two.
I think we all agree that this year is probably going to go down into history as one of the greatest, if not the greatest title fight between Max and yourself. You've got it down to 8 points with 2 races to go. What's the feeling going into those 2 races?
Feeling feels good. I'm really happy with the car. I feel fitter than I've ever felt. So that's a positive. Big thanks to Ange, she's helping me train and keeping me on my toes. Recovery's been great. So yeah, bring on the next 2.
You seem very relaxed.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Esteban Ocon sprinting over to Fernando Alonso.
So Esteban Ocon sprinting over to Fernando Alonso to give him a hug. We're now going to hand you back over to Jensen Button with Max Verstappen.
Max, obviously you always want to come away with a victory, and your main championship rival won the race today, but damage limitations. You also got the fastest lap of the race. It wasn't too bad a race, was it?
Yeah, I mean, of course, our starting position was a bit compromised, but luckily we had a really good start, and from there onwards I was quite quickly back into second. So at the end of the day, to get that fast lap was very nice, and of course I know it's going to be difficult to the end, but I think that's nice. You know, it keeps it exciting.
It's been quite a controversial weekend, I think, for Mercedes and Red Bull, but I'm sure it was nice to get out on track and actually have a proper race out there.
Yeah, I know. It was good. This track is a lot of fun to drive as well. You know, it's really quick. Also, degradation-wise, I think the tires are holding on quite well. So, yeah, it was cool.
What are your feelings? Only 2 races to go. Championship fight, 8 points between you 2. How are you feeling going into the last 2?
I mean, I feel good. Like, it's going to be a tight battle to the end.
Excellent. Thank you, Max.
Tight battle to the end then, says Max Verstappen. Fernando Alonso back on the podium. Let's have a listen.
Congratulations, Fernando. I think, there's a lot of excitement here from your team, Alpine. And I think everyone around the world is excited to see you back on the podium. Yeah, it's the first time since 2014, Budapest.
Yeah, unbelievable. Seven years, but finally we got it. And we were close a couple of races, but not enough. Sochi was the last possibility. And yeah, today, honestly, I thought to be leading after lap 1. I thought with the red tire I could have a go on Luis. But I couldn't. And then with Checo was very close at the end, but so happy for the team. Also Esteban P5, so good Sunday.
Yeah, for us watching, it looked like you were really looking after your tyres through the race and then pushing on the last 4, 5, 6 laps on the tyres. it was a real thinkers race today.
Yeah, we planned one stop from the beginning, but we never knew how bad was the wear and the degradation. It's a new race for everybody. But yeah, I think it was quite well executed, the race. Pit stop was fantastic. The team was great. The reliability of the car is superb, and they deserve it.
Enjoying Formula One?
Yeah, I am going, and I was waiting so long for this, so I'm happy.
Cool. Thank you.
Great to see a happy Fernando Alonso.
Good to see a happy Fernando Alonso. We do apologise, though, if you heard some bad language from Fernando and you were offended by that, so we do apologise for that then. But I'm sure everyone just is with Fernando on how happy he is. Hamilton having a little chat with the greats then that Mercedes have brought along with them this weekend. Tough weekend for one side of that Mercedes garage, Valtteri Bottas' side, but a good weekend for Lewis Hamilton, who closes that gap in the championship lead to just 8 points. 8 single points going into the final 2 races. 50 points up for grabs. Driver of the day then went to Fernando Alonso. I think we might even be able to hear from him now with Rosanna Tennant.
Congratulations, Fernando Alonso. You've been voted a driver of the day. Talk us through how it felt to manage the end of that race with the top strategy.
Thank you very much. It was a lot of noise compared my engine. So, yeah, I mean, it was a weekend for the team. The car was flying yesterday, and we take care of the tires a little bit better than other teams. So, we capitalized on that. Happy for the team. Yeah, thank you for the voting.
Rosanna Tennant.
And honestly, Fernando Alonso adding that cheeky little comment. Thank you for the voting. Voting is now closed for F1 Driver of the Day, so please do not vote. We're now going to hand over to the people in Qatar, and the podium celebrations will begin very, very shortly. And first of all, onto the podium when they come out, it will be Fernando Alonso in 3rd position. I'm sure he's going to get a great, great cheer when he comes out onto the podium, which he does now as we speak. A great cheer from the Qatar crowd and a thumbs up from Fernando Alonso as well, as the Alonso that kind of gesture plays in the background. Max Verstappen comes home in 2nd, and it will be Lewis Hamilton who wins the Qatar Grand Prix. He will stand on the top step of the podium. In his honour, we will hear the British and the German national anthems.
Back-to-back victories, and the points gap narrowed now at the top.
The German and the British national anthems then ringing out across the Sao for Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes. The winner's trophy will be presented by, I'm not even going to begin to pronounce those names if I'm honest, but he is the Prime Minister of Qatar, and Lewis Hamilton raises his trophy high into the air wearing the black mask this weekend to support Black Lives Matter. And the Constructors' Trophy will be presented by the Group Managing Director of Ooredoo. He has sponsored this weekend's Qatar Grand Prix. And the Mercedes engineer, Lewis Hamilton's engineer, lifts it high into the air. One of Lewis Hamilton's many mechanics anyway. The second place trophy presented by the Minister of Youth and Sports for Qatar. And Verstappen gets the good old in the air with the trophy. And Fernando Alonso, finally his third place trophy, will be presented by Qatar Motor and Motorcycle Federation President. And listen to the cheer, the kiss, the raise, the traditional Fernando Alonso celebration then. Now the champagne will start. 8 points in it at the top of the championship. We head to Saudi in 2 weeks' time. We got the F1 show on Thursday night. Don't forget to join us then. But we'll see you at Saudi Arabia in 2 weeks' time at 4:55 when F1 returns.